Well, it's nice to be here with you all. It's good to see you. I see. So, a couple things that I'll say. Just look online for the schedule. But I'll be back the next time I'll teach the Kundalini group. Will be the first week in July. So the next 2 weeks, Neil will be hosting just an open group. The link will be on the Facebook Kundalini support group page. So look there for the link. And I encourage you all to show up next week with Neil and just enjoy the time of being able to share more intimately and get to know each other more fully. So there'll be no formal teaching, but it's important that you're supporting each other on the path. And it's one of the key things so that you don't feel so alone and isolated in the process. I do encourage you, if you haven't signed up yet, to sign up for the retreat on June 25th. I believe that's in 3 weeks from now. And see what happens to you when you sign up on retreat. See the giant leap in consciousness that you will make through showing up and giving of oneself fully. And so I encourage you to think about that, to consider that. Okay. So I think I'll just jump right into this week's teaching. And I was reflecting a little bit with Ivy, and we were talking about just different teachers and how people speak and teach about Kundalini. And one of the things that as I reflect, if I just did just a general overview of, say, what's out there on the internet, what's out there on YouTube, what's been written in the ancient text, is so often the focus has been about achieving great states of consciousness. And to put it bluntly, most people come to Kundalini, teachings on Kundalini, because they might see a picture on a book or something, or an image, someone with their chakras just blown wide open and being in a state of ecstasy. And so often Kundalini is taught about basically being a path to get really high on bliss. And I think when we approach the path to Kundalini awakening this way, we're really missing the mark about what this is about. So for the ego is going to be attracted to getting really high. The same way, a teenage boy might be attracted to scoring some drugs or something, because they want to expand their mind and to step into something greater. And while Kundalini will absolutely do that, what it's really about is God giving birth into form and the total transformation of the inner world. Total transformation of the inner world. So the experience of Shiva is the experience of sitting in the absolute, being in just radical emptiness and freedom in an unmanifest way. The experience or the realization of Kundalini Shakti is about you living the absolute through you. So the absolute speaks through you, lives through you, works for you, works through your body, through your form. About God giving birth into matter. Into matter. And so it's not a trite thing. It's not just something where you're here to get high. God gave us, in different ways to get high. But what Kundalini is wanting from you is to rework your consciousness. So you're no longer stuck in a limited egoic consciousness with this feeling of me against the world, me being this limited human being. As the Kundalini wakes up in you, and you begin to realize that you are energy, you are made of light. That consciousness is light, consciousness is space. Consciousness, yes, is Ananda, is bliss. But it's bliss that's coming into form. Bliss that acts and responds to life in the form of compassion and kindness and love and truth and truth. So this path, it's a full path, not simply about chanting a mantra and going to some exquisite heaven realm. That's part of it. So let me be clear. It's absolutely part of it. But the fullness of Kundalini is the Divine Mother giving birth into life and transforming you and transforming this world out of darkness and into light. So that we can begin to see, like Christ said, that the kingdom of heaven is here, all about the earth, that we're living it, we're breathing it, we're sharing it in an immense way. Now, someone I met with this week, I asked them, I said, hey, are you all in? And they said, oh yeah, I'm in. I'm all in here. And then later that day or later in the week, they emailed me and said, Craig, I wanted to clarify, what do you actually mean by being all in on this path? And see, this is the question that Kundalini is asking you. Are you all in? Are you surrendering your karma? Are you surrendering your lesser sense of self? Are you surrendering your wound and your shadow? These are all the things that veil the Kundalini. So are you all in? Are you giving of yourself? Are you making the time to sit with, to open to this immense Shakti which wants to flow through you? And again, not just in times of meditation. So the metaphorical image of Shiva is just Shiva seated there in meditation, like the Buddha, eyes, staring up at the third eye and just being lost in the absolute. Kundalini Shakti is much more active. It's sitting in meditation, it's stepping up into yoga, and then it's doing yoga with life in your relationships and how you interact with others and what you eat and how you eat and how you drive and how you work and how you parent and how you parent. And so is the love of the Divine Mother flowing through you fluidly? Or is it trying to flow through you, but you're blocking it unconsciously or fighting with it or resisting it, saying, I'm scared of this. I don't know what this energy is. It's too much. And while that's a normal reaction, we have to remember what we're saying. We're saying, I'm scared of God. It's like on this path, do we want to be afraid of God flowing through us? No, certainly not. We want to be afraid of our ego flowing through us. And that's what we want to be afraid of, not God. And so can you open the floodgates? Which basically means, can you soften in your belly, in your pelvis, in your heart? Can you open the throat chakra? Can you let go of all the busy thoughts in your mind? And trust in the movement of this grace. Can you trust in it and let it flow through you? Act through you, live through you. So again, Kundalini is not about you getting high. It's about you living the truth, being the truth, in form, in action. And when you do that, so the byproduct of you surrendering to Kundalini is that you will feel high. You will feel blissful. You'll feel free. You'll feel liberated. So the byproduct of you stepping into Kundalini and choosing to align with its truth and its manifestation, the byproduct of this is spacious peace, bliss, love, profound strength. These are the byproducts. But when we chase after the byproducts in an egotistical way, a clinging way, an attached way, where we just want to say our mantra and sit in states of ecstasy and ignore the world. When you chase after bliss, it's very similar to chasing after drugs. It ruins your life because you're not integrated, you're not grounded, you're not here, you're not doing your work. Whereas when you do your work on this path of opening and surrendering, you live in the truth. And then you live in a stable way in states of bliss and freedom. Not temporary states, but because you've made this path a lifestyle. When you make Kundalini this path, when you surrender to it as a lifestyle, bliss becomes a natural consequence. When you chase after bliss, then it just comes and goes. It never stabilizes within your system. But when you give of yourself fully and completely to God and to God consciousness, and you serve God, then you wake up and you realize that you're living in the house of God. That you're living in the house of God. And your body will feel exquisite. Your mind will feel free. Your heart will be open and compassionate. You'll feel this immense power through in and throughout. And you'll see that this transformation is much more complete when you give everything. When you give everything to it. Most people just want to give an hour and chant a mantra and see how high they can get. I can smile a little bit because I tried that when I was young. And I experienced some incredible states of consciousness, yet none of them became permanent until I started to give of myself, to give of my ego, to give of my time, my attention, my life. And so anyways, again, so nice to be here with you all.